gotta take the lead.
Touchdown, Mycole Pruitt.
Commanding Sports Now, I'm Ahmad, Hicks.
Must be two sides.
What it is, my people, welcome back to another episode of the Must Be Two Sides podcast. I'm your boy, Ahmad Hicks, alongside my brother, Mycole Pruitt. And Pruitt, we got something special, first-time edition for this episode here. You want to tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit more?
Yes, sir. We got a little company. Even though you look a little lonely up there, I'm here with you in spirit for sure. We got a little company, though. Our first guest ever. It's an honor. My dog, 10-year NFL vet, a fellow 10-year NFL vet, all pro ball linebacker, Buckets Award winner out of UCLA, car enthusiast, father and husband, my boy, Eric Kendricks.
Quite the resume.
What's up?
Welcome to the show, brother. Appreciate you joining us, man.
What's good?
Man, looking good, man. The curls popping, man. How you feeling, man?
Curls are popping. I just combed my hair out not too long ago. Got a good workout. Ain't got a good sweat. Feeling good, man. Feeling great. Wonderful,
man. Hey, so Ahmad over here, he likes to tease me a little bit about not having a job right now. And, that's just how it goes when you get up there in years a little bit. And you're kind of in the same boat, man. I'm just wondering, like, how you feeling your time these days? What you got going on?
Man, I just been working out. I work out in the mornings, so I usually finish my, kind of workout routine, body work routine by, noon. And then, I'm with the kids. So it's been, I'm in LA. It's been really great weather. Take my son to the park. I really enjoy watching my daughter grow up too. So, I feel like this is time where I usually would be missing in camp and the beginning of season. So I'm just taking advantage of seeing my kids grow.
What's that adjustment like for you right now? Because I'm sure you've grown up playing football, being on a schedule, being on a regiment every single day to where now you kind of have to control when you work out, when you go do other things. So what's that like compared to when you were playing?
No, I mean, I feel like I keep myself on a schedule always. Even in the off season, I still like to keep a lot of structure as far as my daily routine. That's how I work. That's how I function. That's how I perform at my best. So I just try to, keep it going through the off season. So I've been really just kind of sticking to that routine that I've kind of carried through every off season that I have in the league. I'm in great shape, like I said, but at the same time, I like to work on cars too. So I try to fit that in my schedule as much as possible. So, at the beginning of the off season, when I have less football responsibilities, I'll stay at the garage pretty late. But, lately I've been kind of doing less in the garage for sure.
Yeah, man. What you working on right now? You just chilling right now? You just getting to work? Or what's your special project in the garage right now?
Right now, everything's on pause right now. So everything's on pause until probably February, March. But at the same time, I got parts for my Honda. I got a 1986 Honda CRX. So I got some parts for that are just sitting there, and I got some parts for my 1999 Nissan GTR, which I got some parts for. So those are the two cars I'm probably going to work on next.
Look, the football life has afforded you a lot of great things in life, and I see you like to take care of your cars. That's a wonderful thing. But speaking about football, let's talk about your career, man. 10-year NFL veteran, came in the draft class with Mycole. Gabe, we have that picture, and we want to pull it up and show all of our viewers.
I got to see this.
Yeah, so the draft class, who you guys had there. I'm talking about Stefon Diggs, Mycole, Eric Kendricks, Danielle Hunter. I mean, quite the class. You still got two players playing right now. Am I missing anybody from that list?
Trey Waynes, Anthony Harris. I mean, we were stacked for sure in that class.
We were stacked for sure, man. And you don't really see too many classes with multiple 10-year plus careers on the same team.
Right.
So it's pretty cool to see, man. Just all of us in the different ways our careers went, and everybody still had sticking power. So
do you guys look at Stefon Diggs right now and Danielle Hunter and the success they're having in the league man, it's kind of crazy they're still going? Or is it I should be out there too right now?
Yeah, no, it's not crazy. I feel like we're all cut from the same cloth. I feel like a little bit underestimated, especially early on. Some people had to work harder to exceed those expectations, I guess.
Yeah.
But I feel like we all did well. Everyone's on their own path, but it's fun to see where those guys are. I'm always rooting for them.
Ahmad, we should definitely be right there with him, man. That's definitely how I feel. Sometimes I do feel the age creeping up a little bit. you get out the bed, your knees creaking and cracking, but once you get warmed up and get on that field, it's like riding a bike, man. Come on now.
All right. Well, let
Yeah, I
me.
mean, I work out. I work out with young guys all the time, and
Oh.
so I already know. I don't, I already know I got it still.
Yes, sir.
Look, I know that confidence is key.
Just put us on the ladders, put us in the drills. I'm cool. I'll hold my own.
You say stack up against anybody, anytime, huh?
It's cool. I'm good.
Look, tell me about some of you've been in the league a long time, so I'm sure that comes with a lot of experience, a lot of stories. Tell me, what was your welcome to the NFL moment, like a moment that you'll never forget, like your first couple of years?
I feel like I have a funny story about Adrian Peterson, like my first year. I feel like I told the story before, but he had missed most of OTAs when I was my rookie year. So we had rookie minicamp, I believe, and then we came in for OTAs, and then you go to mandatory minicamp. Well, he had missed most of that, and as a football fan, Adrian Peterson was the GOAT. So I was kind of in the back of my head, like, man, when is he going to come to practice? And then he showed up one day to practice, and I remember our coach on the whiteboard was like, "Hey, number one rule of today's practice." Like he wrote Adrian Peterson on the board, and he was like, "Do not hit Adrian Peterson.
Don't touch him.
Do not touch him. Do not get close to him. Like, that is the only rule today." Like, and I'm like, "Bet, cool, okay." So as a linebacker, I'm, playing linebacker. I'm over here shuffling around, running to the ball. And there was a play where he got a ball, like he got a outside run. And I like kind of square up in front of him and just like completely stop my feet, put my hands out to my side. But I stopped because I'm not supposed to touch him. I'm not supposed to get close to him. Man, we had no pads on. He ran straight through me, like so foul. And then everyone was replaying it in the meeting room, like laughing. And I'm like, you guys want me to hit him because you guys are over here making fun of me after you telling me not to touch him. But I thought that was pretty funny.
Bro, AP was a character, man, for sure. I kind of got a little funny story about him too, man. I remember it was one time I left like a hoodie in the locker room, and it was just a little basic Walmart hoodie or something like that I had. I was still a rookie. I ain't had no money. Left a hoodie in the locker room, and then after practice, like a bunch of guys went over to Chase Ford's house and just kicking it and whatnot. And AP showed up, and he had my hoodie on, bro. It just rocked it like it was
Debo.
nothing. It just rocked it like it was his, man. It shook my hand. And everything. I'm like, AP, that's my hoodie, bro. Oh man, this is a nice hoodie. Appreciate you. Oh man, all right. I'm gonna get my hoodie back one day though. He owed me a hoodie, man.
That's so funny.
Look, I feel like y'all had a lot of talented players on that team. A lot of guys still going around. Adam Thielen still playing right now. Can you tell us like what it was like, I guess, for you guys chasing the ultimate goal, trying to get to that Super Bowl? Obviously, guys kind of got close, fell just a little bit short, field goal and whatnot. But what was that like? What were those memories like as you guys shared the team together?
I feel like the team was super focused. Like it was an uncanny like type of like drive. I feel like everybody was focused to the same goal. Yeah, you have different personalities that you have to manage on the team, but for the most part, like you didn't have to worry about anyone's like what anyone's focus was on. Like you knew everybody had the same goal, and it was super refreshing to be a part of. And like looking back at it, like that was ultimately like so much fun because. You come to work, you play football, you're doing what you love, but when you're around a bunch of guys who are doing it the right way for the right reason for each other, like it's like a priceless type of situation.
Bro, I got to take you back to that game, man. That playoff game that we was playing at the university, Minnesota University, the coldest game ever recorded, man. People were getting frostbites in the stands and all type of stuff. And we had the chance to win that game, man. I was in there on the field goal
versus the Seahawks.
Man. It goes wide left. Oh, the disappointment, man, was crazy. It was crazy. How did you feel in that moment, man?
That was crazy. I felt like a little bit sick. I feel like we played really well on defense. I mean, the game was super cold, but I feel like we deserved. I hate to say the word deserve to win because the chips fall where they fall. Mm-hmm. And they played a great game too, essentially. But man, we did what we had to do. You know what I mean? So it was like it's crazy how it ended up. It kind of like that. I remember the whole next week. I think that we were supposed to play Arizona, I believe, in the next round of the playoffs.
Right.
And I remember everybody on the team was kind of just stayed around for that whole week because it didn't feel like we were supposed to be like out of the playoffs. Like everyone kind of felt like we were still supposed to be there. Like it was like it didn't feel real.
Definitely, man. It was crazy to lose a game like that, man, for sure.
Y'all didn't have those postseason flights scheduled already. Y'all thought y'all had another week in store. Look, I got to ask you about this because talking to Mycole about his time with the Vikings to start out his career, he always talked about Mike Zimmer and the offense and the defense. And he was like, look, Zim ain't talk to the offense. He's like, he ain't care about that. So you being a defensive player, how did you feel that relationship was with the offense and whatnot? Did you feel like the offense did you feel like Zim only cared about the defense? I want to hear from your point of view, somebody that played defense.
I feel like every single coach I had that's been an offensive coach, Zim was the same way. He was with defense as they are with the offense. You know what I mean?
Right.
It is what it is. Like that's their specialty. You know, you're going to learn a few things, especially and you're going to have a few characteristics that you want to have in your offense or defense, whether you're a head coach or not. But yeah, I mean, like he's a defensive minded coach. Like what's like that? But my coach in college, to be honest with you, my coach in college was a defensive minded coach too. So Coach Jim Mora. So I was used to having a defensive head coach. So it was normal to me.
Right. I remember you telling us a story in the locker room, and I want you to reshare it. You told us how there was a little bit of a transition when you got from college to the NFL because you said basically in college, your coaches just said, see ball, go get ball. Whereas in the NFL, you had to pay attention to your keys. So what was that transition like for you being a linebacker?
Yeah, I feel like it made the college see ball, get ball made my instinct so strong as a linebacker. And you never want to forget that. You always want to harness that when you're playing linebacker. So I always have that in my game. However, when you get to the league, it's much more, to be much more gap conscious, much more. Everybody has a job to do, and when you're the person that's not doing your job because you're just playing football, it could end up being your fault to why you win or lose a game. And the details are very, very, very. It's very, very detailed, I guess you could say. But that was the biggest kind of like wake up call at the same time. But when the play presents itself, you got to make a play as well. So like I always kind of had that in my game, no matter what.
I feel that. All right, so I
you
guess
don't want to be a robot out there. You know what I mean? You don't want to be like you gotta play with a little bit free too. You can't just be like I gotta do this X's and O's, blah blah blah. Like you gotta be free flowing.
Cole, that's what you talk about all the time. Said you can't be thinking too much offensively.
You can't, man. But I remember my transition. We had Norv Turner, legendary coach. Man, the dude was always on my butt, man. He was his voice. I can still hear it right now. Run! Like it was ridiculous, but it was what was needed to get to that next level of what's required in the NFL. And it definitely got to a point where I was thinking a little bit too much. But once everything got to clicking and flowing, it all makes sense.
So what was your welcome to the NFL moment? I mean, you're a tight end. You're asked to block some of these multimillionaires and some of the hardest guys to go up against in the NFL, supposedly. What was it like for you?
Man, I think just having to block every day, Everson Griffin in practice. This man was he was a little off, just to say the least, but he was a very hard-nosed player, a guy that was big, stout, and I'm just now play to run. I'm just now learning how to block for real. So he used to get me pretty good in practice, man. But eventually it evened out a little bit.
All right. Well, I guess we should get to what the vibe of our show is. So, Eric, just in case you don't know too much, it's called Must Be Two Sides. And as you know, the media and the athletes seem to always be feuding about something. Some athletes and journalists get along, some don't. Some athletes just don't vibe with journalists. So what we do here on this show, we try and find the common ground, try and break down both sides of the story. So I guess for you, I want you to give us your views on what you think of the media and what you experienced in your 10 years playing in the National Football League, or even take it back to college and what the media was like then.
No, I actually was thinking about this today, and it's very interesting because I feel like I just started really getting good at the media in a sense, like to where I have a good relationship with the media, because I would say my first 6 or 7 years, I kind of took the approach of, you get media trained, and they're like, and then like the teams kind of tell you don't say too much to the media, be, say the cookie cutter answers, avoid certain questions. And so I took every time I dealt with the media, I kind of took that approach, like, keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it dialed up, don't be self-conscious about my answers. And like, I was kind of just thinking too much about it. And I never really showed my personality. And I feel like it really hindered me. So I feel like as, I got into year 7, year 8, and I'm like, man, I would get frustrated with reporters if they try to ask me, too personal questions or like, get too deep. And I got year 7 or 8 and I'm like, man, I feel like I don't really have a good relationship with everybody, like who I should. I feel like I'm kind of like sitting at my locker and no one's kind of approaching me no more, or like, this and that. And I'm like, not that I was looking for that, but I was like, I think it's because how vague I keep things. I think it's because I'm not really showing my personality. So I had to really kind of reshape the way I think about the media and just keep it real. Like, I can keep it real and I can also protect the team and I can also do, because at that time it was just like I was either being emotional because I was upset and I was like lashing out, or I was just not saying nothing at all. And it was like, you got to have a little healthy balance.
Definitely, bro. And I think some of that just comes with maturing and being in this league and realizing what's tripped some other guys up and how some other guys have used media to their advantage. So it all comes with years in the league, and I feel like I had to learn that same lesson as well. And something like this, talking to my boy Ahmad every day, these are some of the things that help me for sure. Just get out that shell and show that personality a lot more for sure.
I just got to ask y'all,
For sure.
because when you look at a guy like Marshawn Lynch and the way basically he was himself to the media, didn't answer questions, but yet still showed his personality. Now you see him capitalizing off of it in movies and commercials every time you look left and right. Does that kind of make you guys regret not being true to yourselves to media to begin your careers?
Yeah, I think that if I would have been more like just myself and not work, I like this is what I came to the realization that like, man, I'm hardworking. I show up every day. I'm never late. I'm always on time. I'm there for my teammates. I do things the right way throughout my life. Like, why can't I rely on that like in my personality to carry me versus like what people think about me through some 15-second clip?
Right.
So once I realized that, I was like, man, I'm just gonna act myself, and maybe I say a cuss word every once in a while. Maybe I talk about cars. Maybe I throw a joke back at the reporter because he asked me, a disrespectful question. Like so. Like now, I'm like, okay, you want to ask me something disrespectful? Like, when's the last time you did something? When's the last time you did this? Like now it's funny. Now he gets it. Now he's gonna soften the question up and we gonna have a little bit better banter. So it's definitely a developed skill for sure.
Yeah, man, and we noticed that you definitely have a large social media presence as well now. Social media is a huge thing in this climate, this atmosphere, and it's taking people a long way, man. How have you used social media to your advantage to really take your brand off?
I mean, for me personally, like especially with the car stuff, like I obviously love football. My family. I got curls on my head, but like with the car stuff, especially like that's one of the areas where at first, when I first got to the league, I was scared to showcase how much I love cars because I thought I was going to come off as arrogant, cocky, like in that kind of light versus being like, no, this is what I'm like really interested in outside of sports. So as soon as I started like leaning into that, especially on my social media, like I started reaching opportunities that I would never imagine, like with Porsche, with Ferrari, all things all over the country where I have these opportunities to do things that I love with cars now because my social media and football and plus cars has led me to that. So I'm very grateful for my relationships that I built in the car community now.
Look, the social media is a powerful tool. That's something that Mycole and I joke about, like how you guys have a humongous platform being NFL players, but yeah, social media, us as journalists, it can also carry it depending on the story, depending on who picks it up and things like that. For you, when you look at the landscape of media right now, the type of questions, and like you said, sometimes you got to throw a joke back at the journalists and whatnot. Is there one moment encounter where you maybe had a scuffle or argument or a debate with the reporter where you're like, you know what, going back in time, I wish I would have flipped that one moment, like one that just stands out to you?
Yeah. So my my father, there was a story that broke about my mother, my father, and my upbringing. Rest in peace to my dad. But things weren't always, peaches and roses, you know what I mean, in my life. And a story broke when I was in college about my upbringing. And it kind of came to light when I started, balling for the Vikings. So naturally, I did another kind of like story on that in the NFL. And I remember, not to get into detail, but the reporter asked me kind of like instead of asking me the question in a respectful way, he asked me in a very disrespectful way. And at the time, my locker mate, Mike Boone, shout out to him, he was sitting next to me just kind of changing minors on business. And when he heard him ask the question, he saw me kind of freeze up, and Mike Boone stepped in and like he just kind of like took care of the situation for me. So that was a situation that I didn't have to take care of myself. But now, looking back at it as the adult, 10-year vet, I would have just handled that I wouldn't have made him get riled up for me. I would have just handled that myself. But at the same time, I could see why he stepped in for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel that. Cole, you got something on that?
Man, that's shout out Mike Boone, man. That's big, man, on that. But like you said, it just comes with maturing and everything and handling these situations.
Any moments for you, Cole, that stood out?
That's just what comes with it. Man, no. Look, I've took the approach where, look, I'm gonna say what I gotta say and keep it short and sweet. And that's all he wrote. That's all she wrote.
Well, look, EK, I look at your social media now, and I was telling Mycole last week, you had a video where you posted about Harrison Smith, where you shared a story about you breaking your ribs in the game. And I'm like, look, this is the stuff people want to see. Like, so it's like, if you're not playing right now, that's the content people want to see. They want to hear the stories. They want to see, your personal life with the cars and whatnot. So for you, what's that journey? What's that transition been like right now for you, kind of dabbling into the podcast, the social media world, compared to just being a full-time football player?
Yeah, I feel like I've kind of invested more into it this off season. I have a bunch of clips that I've shot throughout the course of my career that I just never posted. Most athletes will post like once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Some people are more active on their stories. Where I was like, you know what, like if media is something that I want to get into, or if the car space is something I want to get into, the curl space, whatever I may want to do, I might become an artist or a builder, who knows? But however it may be, whatever I want to do in my life going forward, I'm going to meet connections through social media and my social platforms. So I was like, I compiled all this stuff from my career, and even my post today was like pictures that I had. I just looked back from 2017, 2016, and took a group of pictures and posted it today. But it was like, that's how I'm going to make connections. That's how I'm going to, as long as I'm consistent with that, and like I have all these stories to tell. My main thing though is like I always want to come off as my authentic self. So like I don't want to do too much to where I'm feeling uncomfortable or like posting things that don't really align with myself. So as long as I'm staying in my lane to where it's like this is me, you can tell who I am through what I'm posting, then I'm gonna post it because I'm gonna keep it real.
Well, we saw your appearance on Good Morning Football. And you look like a natural up there, man. You look like you had a good feel for it. Everything was smooth and easy, man. What do you think about that being a career for you moving forward? Or is that just something you just dibbling and dabbling in right now?
No, I mean, I think that I think I'm considering it. I feel like I'm obviously not fully invested into it yet, but I think it would be fun. Get on a panel with a group of your peers. Talk ball. Keep a foot in the space. I feel like this game is, has been so good to me, and I truly love it. So it's like, why not stay connected to it if I can? But at the same breath, just try something, try new things. I'm not gonna put myself in a box or like say what I, say my limits. But I'm just having fun with it. So that was a good opportunity. When I'm on a panel, when I'm talking with my boys like this, or even the ladies, like that's when I'm the most comfortable. When I'm just having conversations, chopping it up. I can talk X's and O's. I know football. I can always like lean on the fact that I know football. And my resume will speak for itself. So it's nothing too uncomfortable for me, and I like that.
So I was just about to ask you, what was that moment like being on national television, knowing you got millions of people watching you, where players now can criticize your takes and your opinions, whereas you used to be the guy in the locker room looking at NFL Network and ESPN. So what was that moment like when you were in front of those cameras, and what was the feedback like from all your peers that watched you?
Yeah, I mean, that's why it doesn't feel like it's too much of a stretch because in the locker room you have these conversations all the time with your friends. So it's like people are always going to disagree or agree, and like as long as you say things in a respectful way, I know everyone's out there putting things on the line. So it's like I'm not trying to disrespect nobody in their work ethic or anything like that, but like I'm going to have my opinions based on the fact either as well, just like you're going to have your opinions on me. So it's a kind of a weird space, at the same time, it's really cool to like, be able to share your knowledge of the game. And I feel like I got a lot of it.
Right. Would you?
Definitely, bro. And you look like you was having fun. So speaking of having fun, man, we got a segment that we do here. We finish every episode out with it. Our favorite game. Let's go ahead and introduce it. Cap or Certified. And it's a special edition today. It's Eric Kendricks edition of Cap or Certified, man. So this is how it works. We come up with 5 statements, and you tell us what you think, whether it's cap or it's certified.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's kick it off. So athlete-driven media is fully taking over the industry. Cap or certified?
Certified. I feel like you want to hear from people who've done it at the highest level. When athletes take over, it's very personal, it's very real, it's very raw. You hear stories that you would never hear otherwise.
Cole?
No,
you go. Athletes first.
You know I agree with that, man. Come on now.
Look, I agree too. I said that I think 5 years ago. I said sports journalists like myself should be fearful of the future because I think players can now control their own narratives, and I think people want to hear from them more than they want to hear from us. So I'm gonna have to certify that as well.
I appreciate that, man. All right, let's go to the next one. Look, this one's special for you, man. Leap year babies should only celebrate every 4 years. Cap or certified?
Certified. I think you should go hard every 4 years, but everyone shows you love every year. And I love the love that everybody gives me every year. But I try to go big on those leap years. I'm the youngest person in the NFL. I still feel like I'm the youngest. I'm playing. I play like I'm the youngest. It's all good. Let's go.
Yes, sir. So, one question: do you celebrate on March 1st or what? February 28th?
I have family who text me on the 28th. I have family who text me on the 1st. I have people who text me kind of during that week, like, "Oh, it's your birthday. We missed it. Happy birthday!" And I'm just kind of like, so I just take all, like I said, I take all the love when it's not the actual 29th. But like I said, when it's the 29th, you must go hard.
I'm gonna defer to him on that one because I don't have much experience with leap year birthday, so I'm gonna go with EK on that one. All right, so next one: NFL contracts will never catch up to NBA/MLB contracts.
Yeah.
You got to elaborate. You think they're catching up?
I think they're catching up. I feel like popularity-wise, we're expanding internationally. I don't want to take anything against basketball because basketball is like you have 5 guys on the court at a time, FaceTime, endorsements. Playoff basketball is really interesting. You know what I mean? There's a lot more games, obviously. Baseball, very similar. You know what I mean? It's like you have less people. You have a lot more games, but really that playoff time is really the most engagement. Football, man, you have guys out there from day one, from week 1, it's like gauntlet. You know what I mean? It's like guys are putting it out there. You don't see no effort changes. You don't see you see better football product because everyone's more refined in the playoffs. However, like the effort level, you don't see like a change in effort. And I think that the fans notice that. I think we're expanding globally especially with social media. I just see the contracts getting bigger and bigger, especially more long term, maybe hopefully more guaranteed too.
Yeah. Cole?
I'm probably gonna certify that because I as for sure NFL contracts are gonna keep growing and growing bigger, but I feel like the same thing's gonna happen with NBA and MLB. They're all gonna just grow exponentially, and they're still gonna be getting paid more than us. They're still gonna cite how many injuries we have and all type of stuff like that. So
I think for average though, per player, Yes, for sure. NBA higher per average per player. But those special positions, the quarterbacks, the receivers,
Mhm.
they getting paid so much now. It's like
Yeah.
those guys can compete, maybe. You
Yeah.
know, some of the guys can compete, but you take a look at some D linemen, you know, O linemen, linebackers, some safeties, you know what I mean? It's like
Right.
some of those guys will just get, you know, running backs. You know, I feel like their average is gonna be a lot less than NBA for sure.
For sure.
I'm gonna have to
For
go.
sure.
I'm gonna have to go with EK on this one. I'm gonna have to say Cap. I think for certain players, I think they absolutely can bring in that type of money. I mean, we saw here in Minnesota, Justin Jefferson just signed like an $80 million guaranteed signing bonus a couple of years ago. You know, one of the highest paid players that's not a quarterback and stuff like that. And I think with the league expanding, like he was talking about, Roger Goodell dibbling and dabbling to overseas games, them talking about possibly adding a team overseas and stuff like that. And then you think about it, you guys are streaming on like 8 to 9 different platforms this year outside of Fox, CBS, and NBC. I feel like the pots go keep growing, and quarterbacks, wide receivers, you know, like guys, like you said, left tackles, DNs, they go get paid. So I'm gonna have to cap that one. All right, Cole, go ahead,
For
hit
sure.
the next
Let's
one.
go to the next one.
All right, I got you. Nissan GTR is the GOAT sports car.
That's certified, man. It's just very well rounded. Very well rounded. It's comfortable. It's sporty. It's nostalgic. It's in the movies. They can compete with anything. It's just I got a lot of GOAT supercars, sports cars, but my GTR is a GOAT for sure.
Hey, yours is definitely fresh, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Look, I'm not in that category.
I'm gonna have to go with you.
Yeah, I'm going with him on that category. What's a close second, though? Give us a close second. What's a close second?
I mean, take your pick. There's so many. Like, there's like a Ferrari F40 is like the car. Like that's the car every kid draws in their notebook. Like when you say draw a car, and the kid draws a red car.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Ferrari F40. So like that has a certain nostalgic like supercar value. Like, but the Porsche 911 is very like iconic. Yeah, I don't know.
And you got 6 cars in your garage. Go ahead.
Does American Muscle just not compete at all these days, or what?
American Muscle, American Muscle. It's getting better and better and better. You know, Ford just had to release a GTD. You know, Corvette, then a new ZR1 X or whatever. I don't even know. I mean, America is definitely competing for the top dog spot for sure right now.
So you told us before we started recording, you said you had 6 cars in the garage. You adding any more soon? Any more sports cars?
Wait for that next contract. Yeah. Treat yourself.
I feel that. All right, we got one last statement here.
Myself.
One last.
All right, this is a funny
All
one.
right.
I'm staying out of this one. This is a funny one. One-on-one versus Mycole right now in the slot. You and the linebackers in the slot right now. You EK. Mycole comes out on top. Capper certified.
Wait, so am I playing? Am I like behind the ball where the linebackers are? Am I over the top of him?
Wherever you want to be.
Over the top.
Over the top. I'm not no press coverage, no nothing.
No, it's however you want to line up and guard them. It's one-on-one. Imagine one-on-ones, linebackers versus tight ends.
You ducking the press smoke or what?
in a man situation.
Man situation.
That's an easy dub. Cap.
EK, look, man.
He needs other route concepts to get over it. I mean, he needs to.
Look, EKG. The last time we went against each other, I was in Tennessee. You were still in Minnesota. I think I had a little stick route. I slow played you a little bit, sped it up on top, caught it, and backed out the tackle. Got a first down, bro. So
okay. Hey,
the film speaks for itself.
I don't think I was a man there. You know,
Fair enough.
And look,
might not have been a man.
Cole has the most awful memory of anybody that I've ever met. He can't remember anything. The fact that he remembers that one play says a lot. That play must have meant a lot to him going up against his former teammate and whatnot.
That's funny.
For sure, man. That's my dog.
I got respect for you, man. You already know.
For sure. Likewise.
Well, we appreciate you joining us and breaking bread and, spending some time out your busy afternoon and you training to get ready for another 11th NFL season. You know, it's been fun, and we appreciate you trying to help us find that common ground between media and athletes and kind of talk about those relationships and how we can get better. You know, we don't take this time for granted.
No, I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, bro. It was an honor, bro. You was our first guest, and you came and you showed out.
Hell yeah.
All right, so we appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. EK, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see y'all next week.
Only keep it real, player. Tell me how you feel. Knowledge is the key to the game. Skills, champions of the world, highlights on the field. Ball in the air, make the world go round. Head in the game, never let it out of bounds. Stand for the truth, otherwise take a knee. Made it to the league, now we gotta take the lead.
Touchdown, Mycole Pruitt.
Sports Now, I'm Ahmad.
Must be two sides.